Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palet, Josh Palet, and Mario Herron. We join you right now. Just a few minutes ago, final score: Jacksonville 31, Los Angeles Chargers 30, and the Chargers, they lose. I mean, we have seen this over and over again in franchise history. It felt different though tonight. You know, it's the old cartoon of Charlie Brown trying to kick that football, and you're thinking this is the time. When you're up 27-0, guys, in the NFL, it should never go the way it did tonight. And as all of us right now are extremely frustrated, Charger fans are extremely frustrated, and we're thinking ahead to Kansas City and everything else. Right now, what is going through your mind? Josh, go ahead. You start it off.
What's going through my mind is like this is just what the Chargers are. You say it feels different, but I disagree. I think I've seen this my entire life as a Charger fan. This happens time and time again. This is what they do. Um, it's very frustrating because, like you said, up 27-0, you have to win that game. But this is what the Chargers are. And it'd be actually weird if they did win the game handily because that's not what the Chargers ever do. They never make it easy. They always make it really tough and really frustrating.
We should have seen it coming, I guess. Like you said, Josh, this is what they do. They don't do anything easy. Don't make anything easy. Look at their whole year. They never made any game easy. Anytime you think they dominated a game on the scoreboard, it's still a close game. And this is what they did. The writing was like on the wall and it was written in Sharpie, but we kept trying to erase it and kept trying to like ignore that it wasn't there. But it was in Sharpie. It was on the wall. Probably, I think this is the worst loss I remember in a long time for Los Angeles Chargers. This is embarrassing. The fact that we're watching this game and the first thing I hear is like, oh my God, like this is what the Colts did and Jeff Saturday did. That's who you're going to compare it to. The freaking dumb idiot that went from a freaking dumb studio into a head coaching job from a freaking high school and he sucked at high school. That's who we're going to compare it to. That's sad.
All right, so look, 27-0. It's the NFL, right? It's a different coach. It's a different quarterback. Everything is different. And you're going, okay, the connection is obviously the ownership, right? It's Spanos. I mean, that's what Charger fans always say. You know, Dean Spanos owns this team. And there have been so much talk about ownership and basically, you know, certain owners will never win, whether it's Arizona, whether it's Detroit, whether it's the Chargers. It's the owner. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to defend Spanos, but I'm going to say at the same time, what has he done to say it's his fault? And meaning that, you know, yeah, bad luck has followed him around if you believe in bad luck. But my point is, you talk about a team that is extremely talented. Going back to week one, when they did the NFL top 100, the Chargers had more players on that 100 list than any team in the NFL. So he has Tom Telesco, he has Brandon Staley, most importantly, he has Justin Herbert. I don't think any of us, including me, especially me, I should say, has ever defended Staley, and to the point where I asked for his head a couple times on the show. But I'm sitting there going, I'm not pointing the finger at the owner. I'm definitely not pointing the finger at the owner because he's giving you the tools to succeed. And yet here we are, back-to-back weeks, and let's just jump right into it at the beginning. We don't need to wait 45 minutes for this question. Back-to-back weeks of complete mismanagement where the team was a disappointment. You lose Mike Williams with the try not to swear, with a broken back. You know, you lose to the Broncos. Nothing good came out of last week's game. And then you go and you completely embarrass yourself. You're up 27-0, and you end up losing this game. A playoff game, a national TV audience, the big audience, the NBC game, the whole deal, Al Michaels. And you sit there and you S the bed right there in front of everybody and you charger it, just to coin a phrase that Mario likes to use. And you go on, well, what the hell? What is the future of this team? And where can you fix it for next year so stuff like this doesn't happen? Guys, I got to point the finger right there at the head coach because it's a lot easier to get rid of one guy than it is 53 guys. And there are a lot of guys of those 53 I still would like to see come back next year.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you touched on there that I'd like to talk about. First off, we saw on Twitter this week that upper management signed off on the starters playing against the Broncos. So that tells me it's not only a Brandon Staley thing, it's a Charger thing, organizational thing, that you guys are that stupid that the whole organization thinks it's a good idea to play our best players in a meaningless game. So if you're Dean Spanos, you look at who you have under you and you think everybody's dumb. It's not just the head coach. I agree 100%. Brandon Staley deserves to be fired. This should be his last game as a Chargers coach. But I have to look at Tom Telesco and the other people that are making the decision that the starter should be playing in a meaningless game. If Mike Williams plays today, do you think the Chargers lose? I personally do not. Because at the end of the game, you could tell the Jaguars were keying in on Keenan Allen. DeAndre Carter was out. We had nobody else to go to. and Mike Williams would have made a difference. Not saying that Mike Williams would have had the greatest game in the world, because I think Mike Williams is still the number 2 behind Keenan Allen, but he's good enough to win us that game at the end, or to help us win the game at the end. Him not being able to play today is grounds to be fired for Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco.
I completely agree. The fact that, everyone will tell you in every organization that has success over and over again, it's top down. That's where it starts from the owner all the way to that janitor that works from freaking 1 a.m. to noon the next day. That's top down. That's what it takes. And the fact that ownership signed off on it, that led to Mike Williams' injury, that led to a lot of other guys getting injured today. DeAndre Carter got hurt today. Slayer got hurt today. I'm not saying it's all from that game, but I'm saying, what does one more week of rest do for them? I don't know. And then on top of that, you see the respect that the players have for him when you have Joey Bosa, who throws his helmet on the ground in frustration after getting another unsportsmanlike penalty, could have gotten disqualified. And as soon as his head coach gives him his helmet back, he throws it again. That's the most disrespectful thing you can ever. That's not happening to Andy Reid. That's not happening to Tomlin. That's sure as hell not happening to Sirianni. That's not happening to Belichick. Belichick would murder him. That's not going to happen with those guys. And the fact that it's happening with these guys, that shows that there's no respect there. That shows that there's piss poor leadership that makes stupid decisions, and that it's time to freaking clean the board. Because like you said, so much talent on this team. If you want to play the name game on the Chargers, you can go on forever with them. And yet you still pissed the freaking bed. You charged it. Congrats. You found another way to do it.
So again, here's the deal, and going back to Josh's point before the Bronco game. Josh was like, "You don't put any of these guys in. You just don't. You don't put any of these guys in." I'm not going to sit there and tell you I told you one thing and not another. I was saying I wanted to build off momentum of a 5-game winning streak going into the playoffs. But look, when you're going to rest guys, there are 6 guys that you rest, and you know who those are? Those are the 6 guys that make the most amount of money. Because on every NFL roster, because there's a salary cap, you can only afford to really pay 6 guys. Okay, and people right now might not understand what I'm talking about. Look at the salaries of the Charger players. Look at the Rams players. Look at Jacksonville. There are 6 guys you can afford to pay big money to. You rest those guys. You know who makes big money? Mike Williams makes big money. You sign him into a huge contract. He's a guy that should not have been on the field. If you're going to sit there and start pulling guys, guess what? He's one of the first guys you pull. Completely agree with what Josh was saying, and every Charger fan saw the same thing. Keenan Allen was the focal point of the defense for Jacksonville. You can watch one game and know Keenan Allen's going to be the focal point. That's where he's going to go to. Everett had a great game today. Okay, not take anything away from him, but he played out of his mind, and he played unusually better than he normally plays because he had to. Mike Williams being on the field would basically keep that triangle of 3 guys around Keenan Allen at every single time that he was going out for a pass, and it opens things up. You can't sit there and cover Keenan Allen in a triangle and Mike Williams in a triangle at the same time in that situation. So the Chargers basically, weapon-wise, they were taken away. When they needed to sit there and put drives together in the second half and they couldn't. And by the way, for everyone who watched that game tonight, and maybe they lost track as far as what happened, from the Jacksonville's last drive in the first half to every drive they had the rest of the game, they scored. It was only at the very end they gave up a field goal. Every other drive was a touchdown. They could not do anything to stop Jacksonville, so they couldn't put points on the board to keep their gap or keep something. And at the same time, when Cameron Dicker misses that kick, that becomes very important because the Charger defense had nothing left. They could not stop what Jacksonville was doing, and the Chargers at the same time couldn't put points up. So the Chargers in the second half combined 3 points. In the whole second half, 3 points. What the hell?
So, yeah, there's so much that blame you could put around. Who do you guys blame the most? I'm going to take Brandon Staley out of this because I think all 3 of us would point at Brandon Staley. Am I right about that? Because he's calling the defense. Yeah. What do you say, Brandon Staley? Who on the field do you guys point at? I'm going to look directly at Joey Bosa. This guy, and I sound like Dave, is the biggest fraud on the team. The amount of love he gets for his production is absolutely insane. He's the biggest crybaby on the field, and he doesn't do anything to help the team when it matters. Anything, dude. He actually hurts you when it matters. His behavior today was out of control. Him disrespecting Brandon Staley, I agree with Mario, was out of control. So disrespectful to the head coach. And he is just not a leader of this team. He only comes back when he knows we're going to make the playoffs. And then when we get to the playoffs, he doesn't do jack crap. I can't stand guys like Joey Bosa who seem like kind of hanger-oners. He's just there when it matters the most and doesn't do anything when it matters the most. And on offense, dude, I got to look at Lombardi. The play calling in the second half is so drastically different than the play calling in the first half. It was scared. This is a theme with this Chargers team. Calling plays scared. You can look at Brandon Staley doing zone coverage because he's not sure his guys are going to be able to keep up with guys in man because they can't keep up with guys going on post routes. And then you have Brandon Staley on the other side that's playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Both coaches, Lombardi and Staley, got to go. And Joey Bosa, dude, I know he's going to be a Charger next year, but I've lost so much respect for this guy after this season.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, so look, here's the deal. I've told you guys for the longest time Joey Bosa was a fraud. Okay, and nothing about him as a person. Look, man, I was covering this team when Joey Bosa was drafted. Matter of fact, when they drafted him, I was all for, hey, getting Joey Bosa would be great. Actually, I did the very first interview with Joey Bosa when he became a Charger. They brought him, put a big stage up right in the stadium in San Diego, and I did a big thing with NFL Network and got pictures. I was all excited that I had the first interview with Joey Bosa and LaDainian Tomlinson when they became Chargers. But, man, it did not take long to realize Joey Bosa was going to be a pain, and he wasn't going to play up to what we think he was. And you noticed it right away when the team went to L.A. He complained all the time about everything. He complained about the locker room being too small. He complained about the fan base. He complained about the size of the stadium they had to play in until SoFi was built. He was the only guy in that locker room that did that. And I was sitting there saying, trade this guy right now. Do not pay him the big contract when his contract comes up. This is not someone that you think you're going to get. And you know what? Right now, it's exactly what I thought was going to happen has happened. So today, when things fall apart, and yeah, was he being held? 100% he was being held. Was on a key play for Jacksonville to score. Was the guy that he was going against, did he move before the snap? Yeah, he did. I got it. You took your helmet off on the field of play. Everyone knows when you take your helmet off that's a huge mistake. He's lucky that he was even able to finish the game. Mario, you are 100% right. The fact that he spiked his helmet twice on the field was insane. The whole thing is crazy. So if you're the Chargers and you go, what do we do now? Looking at a bunch of things checklist-wise, I'd have zero issues trading Joey Bosa. Get rid of that giant salary. I understand this, the money he made in guaranteed money is money you can't get back. But, man, maybe it's worth it to say, look, we're not getting the production at a 97 like we thought we were going to get. He's definitely not Nick Bosa. So maybe now's the time to get rid of Joey Bosa before the draft.
I also agree with you, too. Like, yeah, you were getting held. There was a false start. I completely agree. Revs were – I almost cussed. Were terrible. They're piss poor. They're like middle school refs. But if you ask every NFL lineman, Andrew Whitworth has said this many times. Every play, an offensive lineman holds. Every single play. All that matters is when Stripes sees it. Sometimes they'll see it, sometimes they don't. And also, Joey Bosa. I'm going to compare this to how some NBA All-Stars act. There's a difference between an All-Star. There's difference between a superstar. Yeah. When you're an all-star, you're not going to get a holding call every time. When you're J.J. Watt, you're probably going to get one. When you're Myles Garrett, when you're Max Crosby, when you're those guys, you will. You're Joey Bosa, who has not been yourself this whole year. Do not expect your superstar treatment at all because you haven't been playing like it, and no one's been thinking about you. So now you expect all this thing. You expect this treatment. Goes back to what you were saying, Dave. You expect all these things when you get drafted, and then you're not providing any of it. You're not doing anything. And instead, you complain, you cry, you're a little wuss the whole time about it. I'm like, dude, just step up and play the freaking game of football and hit the guy across from you. It's just not really that difficult. Your brother balled out today. Just saying.
Always does.
Always does. And my frustration too is like Lombardi, red zone, get it in there. You texted us, Dave, and go in the third quarter. You're like, we need more touchdowns. We just need it. I don't care where it comes from. We just need it. We've seen it all year.
Settle for three was giving Jacksonville momentum. Every time we make them settle for three, it gives Jacksonville momentum.
Sell it for three. Get creative with your playbook. Other offensive geniuses, get creative with the playbook. You sold for three. That's why you lost. Congratulations.
The first drive of the second half for the Jaguars, I'm sure you guys remember how it ends. Joey Bosa lines up off sides. On the play, Joey Bosa wasn't even involved. The Chargers get a big sack on third down, drive Trevor Lawrence back about 15 yards, and then you see Joey Bosa lines up off sides. Hey, bud, you can look right at the ball. You're right there. It's like when a wide receiver, jumps. You're right there looking right at the ball. You just don't go over it. Those are the differences between winning and losing. In the playoffs, all these things matter. Is Joey Bosa really a guy that you want your young players on your team to look up to? What does Joey Bosa do that's so great? I'm serious. Everybody, I'm about to cuss too. Everybody looks up to him because of that. Everybody looks up to him because of that last name. What has that last name done for the Chargers? Nothing, man. Go back to number 99. You were better that way anyway. Joey Bosa extremely frustrating to watch. Bryce Callahan, I thought, was getting picked on at the end of the game. I don't think Bryce Callahan's a bad player by any means, but it seems like he was the guy they're going towards. And Michael Davis getting hurt, I think, was a huge loss for us too. There's too many injuries in this game.
It's another thing. I mean, the injuries are always out of control with the Chargers more than any other team. It's nuts. I mean, it's one of those things like Mario brought up in September as far as injuries and the history of injuries with this team. But man, in the most important games, and you're watching guys just get broken down. And as we're looking at the game, thinking, hey, we're going to face KC next week, and how soon do you get Williams back if you keep one in the playoffs, and you get Slater back and you get healthier? But then you're seeing 3 or 4 guys break down and they're leaving towards the locker room and they're out, they're questionable. And it going, oh my goodness. I mean, over and over again, it always seems like the Chargers are on the bad side of these injuries. The bunch of different things I think you can point at. You know, it's funny. I was thinking, who's most upset right now? Because here's the deal. The Chargers walk in that locker room. There's a 10-minute cooling off period. Whatever Staley says, no one's listening to him. You tuned it out. There's nothing that Staley says. If you lose a game like that, there are a million things going through your mind. You're thinking of family. You're thinking about friends. You're thinking about who else in the NFL watched this performance today. You're thinking about this, which I think is really important for the veterans. And I mean veterans, guys like Khalil Mack and Keenan Allen. How many years do I have left in this league? How many opportunities am I going to get to where I want to be? And that means winning the Super Bowl. And what's going to happen to me? And so this is an opportunity. We all thought that this team could play with KC a third time because the games against KC are always close and anything can happen. And when you go Keenan Allen wise and you're going, guys, 10 years in the league. Khalil Mack's been in the league since 2014 and you're going, man, he's coming up too. And we were surprised Khalil Mack had what he had left in the tank this year and he ended up making, being a Pro Bowler. It's one of those, I think if you're a vet and you've already gotten your money, you're doing the time thing in your head. Like, is my career going to end without ever having a chance to hold the Lombardi trophy up? And I think that's where the frustration goes for a lot of those guys that they think about on the plane. Now, a guy like Justin Herbert could be thinking, I'm 24 years old. I'm going to be back here a bunch of times over again. Guarantee he's thinking in his mind, though, the game that we played this week, too. People are going to compare at the end of the day, me and Trevor Lawrence. And at the end of the day, you can say whatever you want about Trevor Lawrence and his 4 interceptions. He also threw 4 TD passes, and most importantly, he won the game. Justin Herbert still has never won a playoff game. Ego, legacy, all that stuff plays into things. But I'll tell you guys, the thing that really bothered me the most as a fan and watching and rooting for this team tonight was when Mike McCoy went out on the field and started contacting Charger players. Former Charger coach Mike McCoy is now coaching Jacksonville. Had to be on cloud 9 and sitting there watching them hug Charger players. Hey, it's okay. You're going to be okay. And, man, it irritated me. There goes the visor. There goes Mike McCoy going there. We don't need you cheering up our guys, Mike. Good luck to you guys down the road. You did nothing for us when you were here. Beat it. But see Mike McCoy on the field really irritated me. It bothered me a lot.
Yeah, he's my least favorite coach in Charger history, without a doubt. I think a big difference between the Chargers and the Jaguars, and anybody, even my mother, who's not a football fan, could tell you that Doug Peterson is the guy that you want as your coach compared to Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley, you're always wondering, what the hell is he doing? When he challenges a play, when you're like, the guy caught the ball. And even if he didn't catch the ball, it's too close to overturn. So why would you even challenge it? That's a huge timeout we lost. Brandon Staley is the king of making questionable decisions in huge parts of the game. And Doug Peterson running that end around on 4th and 1 was just the most Doug Peterson thing of all time. And you knew it was going to work because that's what the Jaguars do. They've been clutch down the stretch the whole year. I really want Sean Payton in here. I think all Chargers fans do. I want to ask you, Mario, do you think Brandon Staley's done as the Chargers coach?
So it's very funny you said that. So before we recorded, I'm, getting my show notes and I get 3 texts. One from Kevin Lapka, who I work with here at Odyssey, one from a friend, and then one from my brother-in-law. And they all go, I think he found the best way to get himself fired. Like, that's what they said. Like, I think he found the most entertaining way to get fired. Yeah, I think he did exactly what he needed to do to not have a job. I think, honestly, it's almost worse that this wasn't just a blowout game. Like, it wasn't just 31-10 Jags. No, it was, we got up. Jags gave us every reason to win this game. 5 turnovers in the first half. They gave us every single reason to win this game. And I, as a head coach of a team that you're paying a buttload of money for, that 8 of the top 100 guys in the league are on my team, you're giving me all this, And in return, I go, here's a week 18. I played my guys for no reason. And then here's a comeback loss that's third worst in NFL history. Yeah, you did enough. You did enough. And now you sit here going, I've wasted another year with Herbert. I wasted another year of Mac. I wasted another year of Allen. We were saying that what would it take for Herbert to go up to Telesco, to go up to Dean and go, hey, I need more. I need more for this organization. I don't know if it's going to come from Herbert, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came from Keenan Allen. I wouldn't be surprised if it came from Mac, because they go in here going, hey, I like being here. I like playing for this organization, but I want a ring. We have the talent, but the leadership's not there. And we're going to need a little bit more. And I can give you my best years, but I got not a lot left in the tank. But I can give you my all. But what I need you is the best leadership to lead this team.
The brains and experience aren't there. I mean, that's what it is. Staley might end up being a head coach down the line and be fantastic. Who knows? I don't care. Here's what I'm thinking. Look, I've never called for a coach to be fired in my life. I'm just kidding. I do it all the time. All right. And with Staley, I did it, a long time ago, to the point the Chargers weren't happy with the fact what we said on the show and saying, take it easy on Staley. That's exactly what the Chargers told us. Take it easy on Staley. Here's why you got to get rid of Brandon Staley. Okay. Because if you don't, you're telling the fan base, and most importantly, you're telling the players that this is acceptable behavior. That this is acceptable. To go and have a season like this, to go into the postseason and lose in the first round, to have a star player get hurt right before the playoffs begin, this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable at all. And if you sit there and you go status quo and say, look, we're building something. If they hold a press conference tomorrow and say we're building things in the right direction and we like what we have on our roster and all this stuff and Coach Staley will be back, man, I think you lost half the locker room right there. I think you lost half the guys. And Mario, you're right. Justin Herbert's not that guy yet. Maybe when Justin Herbert's in his 30s, he becomes that guy. Maybe not a jerk like Aaron Rodgers, but right now at 24, that's not his personality. He's not going to do it. Keenan Allen, to me, has the biggest voice on the team. And people might go, what do you mean Keenan Allen has the biggest voice on the team? He's the guy that didn't play half the season. The only two guys on this team that were San Diego Chargers. Okay, Keenan and Joey Bosa. Joey played 1 year. Keenan was here for a while. And I don't even know how many guys they honestly respect Joey, going back to what Josh was saying. Was he a clown? Was he a clown this year to his teammates? Did his teammates think that this guy, number one, wasn't working to get back to be healthy? Because we were wondering. We predicted the exact game months in advance of when Joey Bosa was going to come back. He was going to come back the game after Christmas when he realized this was a postseason team because he wanted to be there for the good part. And then at the end, when they needed him most, he hurt the team more than he helped the team. Keenan Allen's the guy with the voice. Now, I don't know how that goes. I believe Tom Telesco, people might disagree with me, Tom Telesco should come back. To my opinion, Brandon Staley has to go. And you got to go get an offensive guy. And you better hurry up because we already know that Sean Payton's talking to other teams.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of biggest needs. It's head coach number one. It's going to be OC number two. And it's going to be fixing the run defense number three. Chargers, again, once again today, can't stop a nosebleed, running it up the middle over and over and over again. You're thinking this is the biggest weakness on the team. Even if we would have advanced to Kansas City, they would have destroyed us up the middle, and every other team we would have played. So I think that's a huge need as well. But I agree with Dave. Joey Bosa today had one tackle. I mean,
it's one more than a dead guy.
Yeah, it's one more tackle than us, and we're so far away from Duval. Crazy, man. Then you watch the 49ers game, you say, dude, Nick Bosa is the best player in the NFL. He probably hates it. Everybody probably hates that he gets compared to his younger brother. I don't know. Cameron Dicker.
Hold on. Josh, real quick. I'm going to interrupt you. Do you think he hates it? Do you think he even cares?
Yeah.
I mean, does he have the competitive desire in his body to actually care?
I think he does. Once he was always the better brother up until 2 years ago, right? When Nick started to really show how great he was. It has to bother him a little bit. Even though he's a guy we don't love, and Joey Bosa, it has to bother him. He's competitive to some degree. It would bother me if my younger brother was way better than I was. Wouldn't it bother you?
Way better.
Seriously, Nick Bosa is way better than Joey Bosa. Here, this one more thing. What do you guys think was the biggest difference maker in the game? Do you think it was the Joey Bosa penalty? Do you think it was the Cameron Dicker missed kick? Do you think it was Brandon Staley calling zone coverage on every freaking play in the second half? What bothered you guys the most?
For me, it's the last the last option you just threw out there. It's the whole thing, and we see this in sports all the time. Every single sport, baseball, basketball, football, of playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And I don't understand what Brandon Staley was doing. He was even complimented at halftime about his defense, about how he's throwing all these different looks. And basically, you know, what was the old line that Sam Darnold said when he went up against Bill Belichick for the first time? I'm seeing ghosts. Trevor Lawrence looked like he was seeing ghosts. He was confused. To confuse Trevor Lawrence is absolutely amazing, considering everything he has seen in big games. Yet he was completely confused. 4 interceptions in the first half. Thinking about legacy I was thinking, oh my gosh, Trevor Lawrence right now is going to go down as one of the worst postseason quarterbacks of all time. But guess what? You made it really easy for him when it looked like you guys were giving him the same coverage every single time. No pressure. Hardly any pressure at all. Same coverage.
Same coverage.
It was insane. They scored on every – I almost cussed again. They almost scored on every drive. They scored on every damn drive. Every drive.
Literally can't do any worse.
With the same routes.
Dang it.
Same routes.
Same
Same routes. Dude, we're gonna rush 3-4 guys. They're not gonna get any pressure. And then we're just gonna hit 8-yard pass, 12-yard pass. Nuts. With curls, slant. It's just like, dude, what the hell am I watching? Yeah, I don't get it, man. The first half was great. Even Lombardi, Dave and I were talking like, dude, Lombardi, this is what we need. Second half, totally you can't cuss here, but wuss is out. Nuts, man. Both of these guys are not the guys you want to lead a team at all.
No. And I honestly think the biggest game changer just for me was Michael Davis getting out. As soon as he went out, I think that, like, to me, I was like, this is an issue. I was like, this is not good. And that's when I'm around a bunch of bettors and like, should we bet Jacksonville? I'm like, well, I'm gonna let you know right now, the number one corner's out. I was like, I'm just gonna say that. And like, well, Asante Samuel's having a really good game. Like, he's having a really good game. But I'm telling you, the number one corner on this team's Michael Davis, and he's out right now. And I was like, and that's not very good. And Doug Peterson knows that. And I don't know if Staley really knows that, because he's probably going, oh, well, look, I know it's working right now. I'm just going to call the same coverage and we'll be fine. Play prevent. They get nothing deep. We're athletic enough, and didn't realize that, oh, I actually have a Super Bowl winning coach across from me that can scheme up against any coverage, especially when I give him it over and over again. So that to me, and just the loss at the left tackle, as soon as that guy went down, the Jacksonville started doing a lot of pressure. And Vince Lombardi, I mean, not Vince Lombardi. Wish it was Vince Lombardi. Yeah, seriously. I'm sorry, Vince, actually. He's probably rolling his grave right now. You know, like screaming on top of his lungs, going, seriously? This is what my legacy is? But no, where's one play? It was in the first half, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, this scares me for a Charger blow it. When we had Josh Allen one-on-one with Parham. He had a one-on-one. He got a sack. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I wrote that in my notes, and I put stupid next to it. That's all I put.
It's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
I just can't get over it. The Chargers scored 3 points in the second half. I mean, 3.
At
And they had their way. Say that again?
At least it was in the third.
Yeah, it was scored in the third quarter. Nothing in the fourth. Just nothing. I mean, just unbelievable. It's funny. I'm looking at my sheet. We all, obviously keep notes during the game. So in my sheet, and I don't know if you can see it in the screen, but so blue is Chargers and black is Jacksonville. The red right here is Joey Bosa messing up that penalty where he's offsides. But my point is, it's all blue. The whole sheet's blue, and then it's all black, and you're like, nothing good happened for this team. And you sit there and you're just frustrated as can be. Season's over, and you're going back to the drawing board. What do you do from here? Who comes back? And I think I don't know how it works on the Chargers, to be honest with you, with Dean, how soon he sits down with Tom Telesco. If that's after the game in the hallway, if that's on the plane, I don't know how any of that stuff goes as far as what Tom's thinking of. So when they fly back, Dean will fly back on his own private plane, and then Tom will go back with the team. Unless Dean says you're going to fly back with me, we got stuff to talk about. If you were Dean, I'll ask you this question. Okay, you're Dean. How are you handling tonight? What are you doing? What's your plan of attack? You obviously aren't going in the locker room. You better not go in the locker room and congratulate these guys on a great season. If you're Dean, what are you doing?
I'm firing Brandon Staley tomorrow. Let him get back to California. I think he has a job, and then bam, you're done.
Do you tell Telesco you're flying home with me? Get on my plane. And if you're
Telesco,
Staley, you got to be freaking out. Oh my God, you didn't fly back with us.
Whatever. Yeah. Tom Telesco's 50-50 on being fired in my head. If he stays, I'm not super pissed. If they get rid of him, I understand. But the two for sure. Lombardi gone and Staley gone. How can you bring them back? What's your justification to bring either one of those guys back? Mario, great point on the throwing the helmet by Joey Bosa twice. What kind of respect do they have for this guy? That doesn't happen to any other great coach or good coach.
Yeah, if I'm Dean, I'm telling Tommy boy, me and you sitting across, and there's going to be coffee and whiskey, and whichever gets empty first is really going to determine how this plane ride is going to go, and it's not going to be good. I don't know. I'm with you, Josh, on time. Like, I'm fine if he leaves. I'm fine if he stays because he has just made he's made bad moves. His coaching hiring's horrendous, but you're like, okay, but you've also put together a good team, but you're just not having guys good that are leading it. If I'm Dean, I look at this night in so many different ways. Obviously, competitively, you want to win this game and everything that comes with that. But also, these owners think about money, right? Tonight's a moneymaker for you. Tonight, we talk about Chargers. They need more fans. Tonight's your fan maker, right? You had that Chiefs on Sunday night. You had that with Dolphins. And tonight was a moneymaker. Playoffs, at Jacksonville, another uprising team. This could have been a swing of bandwagon fans that are like, hey, I'm not a really big fan, I live in Indy. I'm a Colts fan, but don't really care for the organization. This is time when you can kind of swing those fans and get those fans to make some money. And you didn't get that. And I don't think that can get overlooked. And I know for a fact Dean's probably thinking about that going, God, that's a lot of money we just missed on because you couldn't win a freaking game. And you were up, what? Why am I blanking on the score?
Yeah, by 27.
27. Yeah, you're up at 27-0, and you suck. That's completely what I would think about. And I think Dean's thinking about that and going, Tommy boy, we're having a big talk about what we're going to do with little Brandon over there who can't control his players.
27 points is ridiculous. I mean, I'm trying to think at any level that I've watched football. And I know we saw teams come back. We saw the Colts, up 33-0, blow it to the Vikings about a month ago. That's the Colts. I mean, this is playoff football, and you sit there and you get a little frustrated with it. Marty, I think you make a good point because the Chargers are always trying to build a fan base. Every team is. I mean, there's the legacy teams that obviously already have them and they aren't going anywhere. But the Chargers have a bunch of things that are going for them. I mean, they got some cool dudes, that you go, I want to follow that guy. I'm a football fan, and I want to follow Austin Eckler. I want to follow Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. All those guys are cool follows. Derwin James is a cool follow. And they got the best uniforms in football. There's a bunch of things about the Chargers that are cool to say, man, I'm interested in that team. And I'm not sure if they're going to be my favorite team, but boy, I'm living in another part of the country and they play the kind of football that I like watching and they got young talent. So I'm going to watch these guys for a long time. Man, you lost so much momentum on so many different, points in this game today. 27, man. I can't imagine, watching a high school game, you're up 27 and you lose. That's just crazy. How does that happen in the NFL? It just shouldn't happen.
I don't even know what to say, man. Austin Eckler, 2 more touchdowns today. He has 20 on the year. He was probably pissing blood after this game too. That guy. It's kind of amazing. Honestly, the most amazing thing is that he had 13 rushing yards for 13 rushes for 35 yards, which is his normal. And he has 20 touchdowns. I don't know. I feel like it's just embarrassing we just couldn't run the ball either. There's so many things I'm just pissed about that I don't even know what to say. Justin Herbert got hit 10 times today to Trevor Lawrence's 5. I think that was a big deal. Do you guys think Justin Herbert played well enough to win, by the way?
I do.
You do?
I do. I don't know, Mario, maybe I'm wrong, but 100% at no point, and I know the quarterback always gets too much credit and too much blame. I don't blame Justin Herbert for it today.
I don't either.
The play calling wasn't his best in the red zone, but that also, I don't want to put 100% blame on on Joe. I don't want to keep saying Vince. Maybe his ghost is lingering.
He's the big one.
Thinking of a winner,
yeah. I'm thinking of a winner because I am a winner.
You got to say it without laughing.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that will sell my point. But it's got to be a little bit. God has to fall on Herbert. Where you got to make a play. We got to do something in that red zone, man. To your point, Josh, we got to use your legs at some point. If someone's not open, we got to have some type of other threat. Now, look, I'm gonna have to literally go back and watch and see if there's any open lanes even to run. But you gotta be a little bit more of a threat. You gotta dance a little bit. All right. You can't be doing the hitch, Will Smith. Just snap it right back in place. Can't be doing that. Get a little Kevin James in you. Gotta improvise. Like, gotta do something to that. It's something just more I kind of want to see from Herbert going forward.
Okay, so he did run a little bit today. He ran on a huge situation when they needed a first down. Not as much as we had hoped. We spoke about this a couple days ago. We all expected a little bit more, but I expected more from both. Mario has me looking at betting lines now all the time. There was a betting line today, Mario, that I thought was the biggest gimme of all time. And this is why I guess I'm glad gambling's not legal in California. But it was, would Trevor Lawrence run for more than 15 yards in the game today? And I was like, that is the easiest bet of all time. Yes, he will run for more than 15 yards today. He didn't. Yeah. I think I'm not looking at the box score right now, but I think he had 7. I think he had 7 rushing yards. Eight rushing yards today. And I'm like, man, I would 100% would have lost that one. What did Justin Herbert do? Am I right when he left the pocket twice, Josh? Or how many times did he leave to run?
He had 3 carries for 12 yards, along with 13.
Okay. Yeah. So that was that's it, man. I agree with you. I don't know. I don't want to put any blame on Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert did what the game plan told him to do. Unfortunately, there's some major penalties, man, on the Charger side where they played kind of dumb, and that hurts Justin Herbert too. You instead of looking at you run a play and now it's 2nd and 7, or you run a play and now it's 3rd and 3. It wasn't, because they're sitting there doing dumb things. And I mean, here's one that's basic as hell. Where in the hell is the offensive line going when it's a pass play and shooting down the field? And you're going, man, that's 9th grade stuff. That's 9th grade. And Josh, you called plays in the huddle for years. When I played football, and I sound like an idiot right now, so it says, but when I played, because so many people listen to the show, of course, have played. This is what I listen to most importantly. Is it a pass play or is it a run play? And then I broke it down in my head before I left. 2, I had to remember what the goddamn snap count was. That was always important too. Yet the Chargers messed both those up today in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're talking about Zion Johnson running down.
Zion Johnson just taking off like a goddamn madman, like he was on fire. Just gone.
Corey Lindsley being the only one that doesn't know the snap count. Those little things that drive you nuts.
Mario's right. He ran a seam route.
Dude, if I was – yeah. What do you say, Mario?
Anyway, sorry.
It literally reminded me when it happened. I had to text one of my buddies from high school because it reminded me of watching high school film. And I'll never forget, our right guard literally ran a seam route on a play. And our head coach took a water bottle and threw it at him and goes, if your fat ass ever runs a seam route again, you'll never play ever again. And it's literally what I thought of. And guess what the penalties come back to, though? Coaching. Holy hell.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's coaching. Weird.
So, if I was to tell you, it sounds like 30 for 30, but if I was to tell you that the Jaguars would have 5 turnovers, the Chargers would have 0, the Jaguars would be 2 for 10 on 3rd down, say, oh, dude, the Chargers won this game.
Walking away.
But that's the most Chargers stat line thing of all time. Like, how do you possibly lose that game? They got outscored 28-3 at one point, just like the freaking Falcons. It's like this literally was just the Falcons of the second half, but not in the Super Bowl. Okay, I have a question for Dave, and I know people say this on Twitter, and it's like kind of a joke, but kind of serious. Do you really think the Chargers are cursed?
No, I don't believe in curses. No, I don't believe they're cursed.
I don't know.
I don't. I both you guys are looking at me like, yeah. Come on.
I believe in curses.
I 100% believe in curses.
100% believe in curses. Yeah.
I don't. I think you make your own luck. I think there's no such thing as bad luck, good luck. I think you make your own luck.
Nah.
I think you surround yourself by people who think positive, man. Who think positive. Look, man, here's the deal. I'm a football fan, okay? I love this game. I've watched it my entire life. I love this game. I love baseball, man. I love basketball. I'm an actual baseball coach. I know baseball better than I know almost anything in my life. I can tell you right now, I can't coach football. I can't step in there and be an OC. I can tell you good football and I can tell you bad football. There are things about football that I know how it's supposed to be done. I've been around this game for a long time, but I can't step in there and give you a foreign language of how to run an offense and everything else. I'd be the worst guy. My plays would be so crazy. I'd say, hey, I want you to run this route, this route, this route. It'd be like when we do Turkey Bowl. I'm not that guy. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. But I'll tell you this, in the mindset of being a head coach, let's say who's not calling plays, which Brandon Staley's not calling offensive plays. Guys, what we're going to do is and I got this from Rodney Harrison. You saw him on the broadcast. Rodney used to use this line all the time when he was with the Chargers and I covered the Chargers. Rodney used to say to me all the time, we're going to punch him right in the mouth. And then we're going to punch him in the mouth and we're going to keep him down. And then we're going to make it hurt every single drive after that. And then when the defense gets out on the field, Junior and I are going to punch them in the mouth again. And then they're going to punt or they're going to turn the ball over. And then our offense is going to score again. Now, did they play that way? No, the Chargers didn't play that way when Rodney was here for the most part. He did. He was on that team that went to a Super Bowl. But guess what happened when Rodney went to New England with that attitude? He was in Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. And he was playing with a broken arm, and he did the whole deal. And Bill Belichick loved him with all the great players and just do your job and everything. That attitude of believing, as you called yourself a second ago, Mario, you're a winner. You sit there and you go, hey, I have the confidence to say when you leave here, you're going to say, I never want to play this team again. This team punished us mentally and physically. That was the worst team to go against because I don't even know if I'm a man anymore. The Chargers never make you feel that way. They never make it hurt.
No. I think the Chargers had that attitude at the beginning of the game, like we're going to take care of business. And it all flipped when J.K. muffed that punt right before the second half, and they had the short field and they scored a minute and 25 seconds. I totally felt like the momentum changed right before the half. Did you guys kind of feel that way too?
Dude, I feel like I jinxed this whole goddamn team. I don't mean to cut you off, Mario. Everything I said on Thursday, I jinxed Cameron Dicker. I jinxed the special teams who couldn't seem to cover a kickoff. I jinxed everything today. Everything I
think you sent
said.
a text. I think you sent a text today saying you're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did. I literally sent a text to Mario and said, contact the bosses and say, we want passes for the Super Bowl. We're going this year to Arizona. I did.
9:04 p.m. Eastern time, 6:04 Pacific
Yeah,
time.
We weren't even an hour into the game, and I'm telling you, you better get our Super Bowl tickets.
You were looking up flights. I saw you.
Look it up. I got to see if I can get my money back.
That's true.
Go for
Does
the
Airbnb
Southwest.
give you your money back on those, or how does that work?
No, I got to find out after the
You
show.
gotta go, you got to look through the fine print on that.
Great.
That's a write-off.
Great. Does anyone want 49er Chiefs tickets? Because I got them.
The two of 10 on third down is truly insane. That I keep staring at that, and I go like, how the hell do you come back when you're that bad on third down? Like, how the hell do you do that?
Dude, Brandon Staley's defense is so bad it didn't even get to third down in the second
It's
half.
crazy.
Like second down, first down, second down, first down.
But honestly, it makes sense because you look at the drives they had, like the two last drives, even like three last drives, they're all very quick drives. They're all under 4 minutes. So they're quick, coming and going. And to be honest with you, when they were up big, I remember sitting there and I literally wrote down, I go, we do not have to worry about the run game because they can't run the ball anymore because they don't have enough time. They got to come back in the game. And guess what? You might as well should have just opened my legs, taken a sledgehammer, and just hit me as hard as you can in the nuts, because that's exactly what that statement did as it came flying back right at me. It didn't even matter. Ridiculous.
You know,
at least I bet on this game and I won at half.
You're the only guy that picked Jacksonville when we did our bets on Thursday. I thought you were an idiot when you're down 27-0. I guess poor guy lost his money.
Yeah, I was getting ready for the Twitter war coming my way.
Yeah.
I had what you call her half pint? What's her
yeah.
Erica, right? Yeah, Erica.
Yes.
Yeah. Erica tweeted at me and I was like, okay, here comes the wave. I was getting ready for it. I was like, I've seen her go at Dave a couple times. So I'm getting ready for not her come around once, but come around a couple times. So I was preparing for war. And then it's
she's hurting. She's a Charger fan. Little baby tears are going down her face right now tonight as we do the show.
No, today's not fun. Today sucks.
No.
Like today's sad.
You know who had a bad day tonight? Who had a bad night as we're doing the show right now? Who's thinking, man, my life was a lot besides the three of us? By the way, we better win Employee of the Year for this show because, man, none of us feel like being here right now. We're all miserable. Here's the deal. It's Asante Samuel. Asante goes back to his home state, right? And he's like 3 interceptions in the first half. I'm the man. I own this state. I'll be back in the state again after we make more of a run in the playoffs. But everyone in the state of Florida, number one, remembers me from Florida State. 2, They're definitely going to remember me as the guy that ended the season, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and handed Trevor Lawrence the most embarrassing loss of his career. All that's out the window for Asante Samuel. You know? Damn it.
Yeah.
Every
Trevor
girl he
Lawrence
thought he was calling, he's not. Yeah. I hated that stat, by the way, that Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday. I was so happy to see that come to an end. It's still true.
Yeah. I think the positive, the one positive I'm going to take from this game is that hopefully Brandon Staley's fired and hopefully Sean Payton's the coach of the Chargers next year. Hopefully. Only thing I could take as a positive.
We'll bribe him.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's the deal, man. In all seriousness, look, if Staley's gone, Sean Payton wants the job. I mean, everybody in Los Angeles knows it. He's not hiding it. He's letting everybody know. The Denver job is there. Denver has spoken to him and spoken to Harbaugh. All those rumors have gotten out. But people who know that Sean Payton has now been living in Los Angeles since he stopped coaching the Saints, he wants that job. He's dying for an opportunity to coach Justin Herbert. We saw what Doug Peterson has done for Trevor Lawrence in just a year. Look at the difference of Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson. It's amazing that it's only been a year, right? I mean, this is something you think when you saw that train wreck in Jacksonville, you're like, this is a 5-10 year process of fixing this mess. These guys are broken. They all got PTSD from Urban Meyer. The guy kicked the kicker for goodness sakes. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then
didn't know who Aaron Donald was.
Yeah, he kicks Josh Lambo while he's stretching. I mean, insane. It's like crazy stuff was happening in Jacksonville. And then here comes Doug Peterson. Fixes everything. Wins the division. Beats the Chargers down 27-0. One of the greatest wins in NFL history if you look at it from their side. Sean Payton wants that job, man. There's another quarterback whisperer right there that wants the job. I mean, what are you doing? Opportunity is knocking, Dean. Answer the damn door. You're a fool to let this guy get by.
You know, like in Big Daddy, in the court scene where he's like the sugar mama and the homeless guy's like, I need me one of those.
Yeah.
Like, Sean Payton, I need me one of those. I want a quarterback whisperer. Yeah.
All right.
Are you as nervous at all with Payton, though, with what Saints want with trade?
Giving up a first-round draft pick?
Yeah. Or you guys like?
No, I would do it. How about this? I would give him up, and I would. Honestly, God, I said it in the show, and I wasn't just saying it just because I was looking for a reaction. I would trade Joey, and I think you can get a first for Joey too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll trade my left nut probably.
And so,
probably honestly like left nut.
Yeah. You get rid of Joey. You get a first-round pick. You trade whichever one that you're able to do with the Saints, and you move on. But man, it could be a huge difference. Look, we saw Jacksonville do it. How did the Chargers not sit there and do this? If Staley comes back, do you guys agree with what I said? I mean, I know I rambled a lot today because I'm so much emotion. But do you agree that if you're a player on that team and Staley's back, that how are things going to be different? Like, what are you thinking going into camp next year? How are things different?
Dude, if Brandon Staley comes back, I'm putting in my credential for the Houston Texans podcast next year. Seriously.
We will request a trade.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. Oh my gosh, man. What a frustrating night, guys. Very frustrating. Here's the good news for you people that have followed us and you guys were all in on this ride with us this year, which is fantastic as the audience has gotten extremely involved. We appreciate it. We're going to be doing this year round. We aren't going anywhere. All right. Maybe that's good news, bad news. But look, as this show has turned into therapy to talk us off the ledges, we do it for each other. We appreciate the interaction and we want the interaction year round. And that goes into whether it's a coaching, whether it's players the Chargers are looking at, whether it's guys you think that you get rid of. We want to hear what your opinions are. Again, we're football fans the way you are, so we want to hear what your opinions are. And, of course, leading into the draft, what's going to happen through free agency, what's going to happen through getting ready in April for the big draft, and, of course, going into training camp, and we do it all over again. So we're going to be here year-round. We're going to be doing shows, multiple shows every single week, talking Charger football and moving forward. And we'll be back in a couple days and see if there's any news. And if not, we'll tell you what we've heard and what we know. But we'll be back in a few days again. Thank you so much for listening to the Bolt City podcast. You can follow us on Twitter. You can leave us messages, of course, on YouTube, all that stuff. Whether you listen to the pod or you watch on YouTube, we appreciate it all. Again, for Josh Palet, Mario Herron, I'm Dave Palet. Thanks again for listening to the Bolt City podcast, courtesy of Odyssey.